Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to Conflict of Nations. This is the diary of the 64 player game that we have on with our community. I want to go ahead and give a massive thank you to the developers for sponsoring this video. It's been a ton of fun so far and we are only at day 5, so I'm very excited to see what the future brings and see what will go on across the world. If you've never heard of Conflict of Nations or you didn't see my previous video, basically it is a real-time strategy game that goes ahead and gives you control of an entire nation around the globe, which is very, very fun. And you basically just have to build troops, research, develop your country, and take over the world. If you like what you see, make sure you go ahead and use the link in the description. And I'm pretty sure I already said this, but this video is obviously sponsored by the developers, so massive thank you to them. By sponsoring stuff like this, it really helps the channel keep on going and survive. So yeah, massive thank you to them. So this is the first day, first 5 days of the Conflict of Nations game that we have in our community, and things are going pretty well so far. I mean, for Canada, I mean, we haven't died yet, which is always pretty impressive, and as you can see, we have pushed down pretty deep into the US territory. I waited a couple days before attacking the US, but it was always my goal. Obviously we're playing as Canada. It was always my goal to push down and take out the US, because it's either we ally with them and we don't really do much, or we kill them, take a ton of land, and then move on elsewhere, which was very lucky because the Americans sent most of their soldiers down to Panama to try and conquer that and fight Colombia for Panama, and I was pretty lucky in the sense that once they'd sent the majority of their units down south, I could then push in and start taking a lot of territory. I pushed on New York, Washington, and Chicago almost immediately. They were my blitzkrieg tactics, because if I can take away his cities, he can no longer produce soldiers out of them cities. So basically just trying to cut down his army very nicely. I did also then send a message to Colombia like, hey man, if you want to focus on our navy early on, that'd be great, because the UK also declared war on me as well when I went to war with the United States, along with Spain as well, which was pretty scary. But yeah, we basically pushed in. The US have been pretty annoying though, sending soldiers pretty deep, and we've been trying to bring them down bit by bit, and they've still got a handful of units scattered around, but for the most part we managed to win this war without too much hassle. I need to move back up to Alaska and this region up here, take back my oil, and also take this entire region up to the north, which would be nice. Yeah, and also Colombia as well. I've been working quite tightly with them. They've taken Los Angeles and San Francisco. Unfortunately, Mexico doesn't seem like he's playing, so that's something we're going to have to probably eat up between us as Colombia takes more of a territory. Maybe I'll take more of the Caribbean as well. And then kind of just sit there and build up, because I've taken a lot of land, and one of the really cool things about Conflict of Nations is that once you conquer a land, you can't produce stuff out of it until you annex the cities. So unlike Call of War, where you do just, you know, take a load of cities and then instantly start building out of them, it's going to take you a little while to actually develop them, and it's very expensive as well to actually annex a city. Once you do, it's very much worth it. So I think what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of days is obviously cleaning up the rest of the US, maybe pushing on to Greenland, because I am at war with the United Kingdom as well. They sent some men over, but luckily the Colombians had a ship ready to be come at me, and they sent their ship up and they intercepted the majority of the English invasion forces. It took days to cross the Atlantic, and also they met a pretty heavy garrison in Halifax. I assume that's where they would be landing, and it was kind of fine. I think it was like a 5-man stack. The Colombian fleet managed to kill a handful of them. And then this army was pretty stockpiled up. I basically was just throwing everything over to Halifax and to New York to try and defend them, because, again, they're probably the most obvious landing points. Obviously, you could land in the north, but, again, I don't really care too much. I've also spent a few resources on trying to build some military infrastructure, which speeds up the movement of my units, because, again, if you don't know, whenever you move a unit on the campaign map, it basically takes time to move. So, for example, just to move up to this region, it's going to take you 3 hours. But by building this military infrastructure, it cuts that speed down by about 50, I think 150% or something along those lines. It's extremely good to get. It's expensive, obviously, once you're doing it across your entire kingdom. But I'm basically just trying to link up, basically, this probably going to just basically try and link up New York, Toronto, Halifax, and Quebec, maybe, and then maybe decide to go from there. Oh yeah, I also killed Quebec as well, because this is an independent faction. Rest of the world, though, as you can see down here, Brazil, I think, has taken out Paraguay and Uruguay, which has been kind of cool. We also have the forces of Peru as well. Moving into Bolivia, over on that side. Over on the in Asia, we have the Russians and the Chinese splitting Mongolia. The Russians have also conquered North Korea. No, North Korea is actually still standing, surprisingly. It is actually player controlled as well, so hopefully North Korea can stand strong. He is currently fighting, I think, Japan. Yeah, Japan's invaded South Korea, and they're currently fighting for that. India, I think, has pushed in, taking out a few nations as well. There is, I think, a pretty strong coalition in India. Is it these guys? Yeah, India, Iran, Turkey, and Greece. That's not a bad alliance, basically, because you can see Iran's taking a lot of territory as well. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Pakistan and Afghanistan going fairly soon. There is also a Saudi Arabian alliance, obviously Egypt in Africa, doing some pretty good bits in Mali down here. A lot of the south not being controlled by too much. There are players down here as well. There are also a few computers as well still left to be taken out. So we'll have to see what goes down. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of rich land down in Africa. I'm sure they're going to be utilizing that quite nicely. And obviously in Europe as well. Not much has really happened in Europe, which is, I think, always the biggest mistake. Europe is definitely one of the harder regions to play. Because there's so many nations and a lot of people play them nations. But something I think you have to do, you really, really have to do in Europe is just conquer people, because you just end up way too small, and then nations, like me, taking the whole of the US and Canada. Like, I have so much more land than, say, France or Germany, and even though their land is pretty developed and they have a lot of cities down here, they need to conquer more of this. They really do. So I'm kind of happy that they've taken a bit of land here and there, but nothing to be super scared about, and I'll have to see how that does develop. It seems like Romania is pushing in, and look at that, Ukraine as well, moving into Czechoslovakia, and they're backed up by the Russians as well. I think the Russians have a super scary coalition as well. Yeah, China, Russia, already super scary, Belarus, Ukraine, and Romania. That's, it's something which is pretty dangerous indeed to have to worry about. So yeah, that's going to be the game after 5 days. I'll probably bring it back to you in the next couple of days, just showing you basically how I've cleaned up the US. I'm still engaging a few rogue US units as well in the north. But yeah, I'll probably bring it back when I'll basically, I think, in the next couple of days, take out the rest of the US and then just reconsolidate my forces, put garrisons everywhere to stop terrorism from uprising in cities I've just taken, and then really just go from there, develop the cities, get to a point where I'm making a lot of resources, probably start building a few ships as well, get that research on the go, start building a couple ships here and there, and then we'll have to see. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this part, and I'll see you guys in the next couple of days. Oh, Canada! Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to some more Conflict of Nations. This is day 8 now, so about 3 days on from where we last left off. And as you can see, the United States have been overrun by my forces. We've also just produced our first main battle tank, which I'm super excited. However, the US, in usual US fashion, are sticking around and being an annoyance. They aren't giving up without a fight, even though I've taken all their major cities. Unfortunately, they've managed to get rogue units through my lines, just going around conquering, as they're disrupting as much as they can, which I think is a really smart move, and big shout out to the US player for not just giving up and throwing in the towel immediately as soon as he lost a few cities. He stuck around and he's just trying to do as much damage as possible, but I think I should hopefully have cornered him now. I need to move in here and take back Portland if we can, and finish up the last kind of pockets. So basically over the next, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, I'm gonna mainly just be saving up resources, because I've noticed that in Conflict of Nations it is extremely expensive to go ahead and annex a city, like extremely expensive to do so. So I'm gonna have to try and save some resources to do that. Obviously I want to try and get New York and Washington online as soon as possible to try and give me more of them rare materials, and also more of the electrolytes as well. They're really, really useful. I also will go ahead and turn on music as well, because it's always good to have that on in the background. Around the rest of the world, you can see that Colombia has pushed through and taken out Mexico. I don't think the Mexico player actually ended up playing. He obviously joined, but then I think maybe something came up and he stopped playing, because I wanted to try and use him against the US with me. But he never actually ended up replying to me, unfortunately. Rest of the world, though, is actually pretty stale. Argentina are fighting hard against Bolivia and Brazil, so putting up a pretty formidable last stand. Over in Africa, you can see Egypt is really conquering a lot of land. Arabia and Iran also doing the same. We also have a pretty big push out here by Mali as well. Doing, as I said, a very, very nice job out there. Spain are fighting them both, so the Spanish are trying to push in. Also, the United Kingdom got killed by either finished as well, it would seem. He did send over a lot of units to try and invade me and help the US. Luckily, a Colombian corvette managed to sink the majority of the British army, and I think after he lost his forces at sea, he was just like, okay, I give up now, GG, you guys win. And then Finland came in and killed him. So good land there for Finland. Hopefully he can take some more territory. It does seem like as well Romania have pushed in, conquering what remains of whoever this is. Russia. Oh, Russia own this actually. Okay, so the Russians are pushing in with their allies, conquering more of this land. I mean, it's a pretty scary Russian alliance, right? Because it's Russia, Ukraine, Romania, China, and Belgrade as well. So that's a kind of a very scary blob we're going to have to worry about. And something, obviously, on the west coast of America, we're going to have to be very cautious of in case they try and come in. I'm going to be cleaning up this last position here. And I guess I'll also maybe try and get a corvette there, because I am producing ships, kind of quickly, just constantly from Halifax. I think I always want Halifax to be producing ships just so that I can scout more than anything else. And something I really like about Conflict of Nations is the way the sea tiles are set up. I am also invading Greenland. I took out the city, which was good, and now we're just moving over. Going to take this big blob, obviously, giving me a decent amount of vision and other stuff like that. So as I say, I could actually move this corvette over, or I could just go for Greenland as well. The UK still have, Iceland even. I don't know. I'll maybe speak to Finland, see if he minds me taking that. We'll see what he has to say, because maybe he wants that, and I'm okay. I don't want any problems with Europe. Obviously, the majority of the issue is going to come from Russia and China, so we'll see what goes up there. In the newspaper as well, there's been some pretty cool articles, so it's been amazing seeing people role-playing and stuff. And if you take a look at the alliances as well, you can actually see Colombia first, overtaking Russia, which is kind of hilarious. And we've got India, Saudi Arabia, and I'm sick right now, so I'm okay. Oh yeah, also as well, the mercenary force for hire, the Australians and the marine forces are proving quite a scary nut to crack as well. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, if India goes to war with China, maybe we're going to have to try and get involved and try and do stuff. But I think, basically, for the next, 5 days, maybe even more than that, I'm going to be mainly just saving my resources, probably not building any more units, maybe building a few ships, a few tanks, and maybe getting a couple aircraft. But I don't think I'm going to be building any more infantry anywhere. I'm going to let my infantry heal up, obviously, from the dramatic battle, get all these cities on side, conquer the last bit of territory, and then basically just save my resources for research, because I do really want to go ahead and start researching, obviously, bigger, scarier ships. There's a lot of research to be doing. Maybe try and get some destroyers and upgrading some of my ports on the coast as well, because I believe you can get, maybe not actually, yeah, no, you can't. But yeah, we obviously Vancouver, I can upgrade, start getting some ships from Vancouver, and basically just protecting the Atlantic and the Pacific at the same time as much as I can. So yeah, cool, that's going to be day number 8. I'll probably be back on day 12 unless something crazy happens, and then I'll see what happens. Okay guys, welcome back to day number 17. Things have progressed pretty far on, honestly. I've mainly been just souping up my kingdom, investing in industry, and building up a pretty gnarly force of what I think is a fairly elite army, which has it's been pretty exciting, honestly. And obviously I have also found allies around the world to help me. We have now formed the ultimate, I guess, South American alliance. I am now in a coalition with Colombia, Brazil, and Peru. So we've basically got a lot of territory under our control, at least over in the Americas. We also are currently invading Cuba right now, and I've actually been having a bit of a rough time here trying to take these guys down. They've actually been pushing me back fairly. The AIs has been doing a really good job of repelling me, and they have a lot of units here. I've got ships bombarding them. I've got my strike craft patrolling around, just obviously going land to air targets onto their places and their army. But yeah, they've been doing some pretty annoying stuff, and I am having to put down one of my stronger armies, which, as I was saying, I've been building right here. This is my tank division, the elite tank division. I've got a tank ace, which is really good. Gives crazy good bonuses to the rest. He's basically like an officer who gives aura buffs, but is also really strong himself. I then also have 3 of my main battle tanks. I then have a recon vehicle, so I can basically see a bit more around my tanks, so I'm not going to be attacking foolish people. Basically, like here, if I had a recon vehicle, I'd be able to see what they had in there instead of these question marks. And then I have some anti-air as well, just some mobile SAM launchers as well to protect me from any air. But yeah, I've been having a hard time really trying to take Cuba. So I'm actually going to just bring down this tank division. It'll be there in a day, and then I'll be able to take that out. We also have my allies in Brazil and a few other people moving over. But as you can see, our forces are on the move right now. We're pushing down to actually invade. I think we've actually started the invasion as well to push in and take Africa, because the world is in a perilous state right now. The Russian alliances basically overrun Europe right now, and they're going to be our biggest components right now. There aren't many coalitions really left because, you know, a lot of these factions have been taken out. The UK has been slaughtered by Finland along with Germany and France. Spain is still alive, but Italy is completely taken by Romania. Turkey is completely taken. The whole of Iraq and Iran are also completely taken out. So there's not really many coalitions left. If we actually take a look at the coalition map mode, there's only a handful of us still holding firm. We've also got the USR, who have China, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Romania. I assume they're probably going to get rid of Belarus at some point. Maybe not, though. I don't know, because obviously Finland is aiding them and is very, very strong. I played with this guy in the last playthrough on our Call of War one, and yeah, he was extremely tactical and smart and yeah, very dedicated to the cause. So I imagine I'll want to get him in at some point. Australia is down here doing Australian things. He's not committing to any alliances and continuing just to build up his navy, build up his marine force, and basically be an army to be reckoned with, you know, an army for hire, which I really like. He's been posting some really cool news articles as well in here. I don't know if we can go just to everyone. Is there a way to just see, because this is like a lot of information you get every day. I'm not sure if you can see any major articles, but they've been posting a lot of really cool articles. I'm not sure if there's anything here that really shows it, but yeah, it's been really cool to see that. And also as well, look at the map as well. I've got like the whole of America, and I'm still pretty far down there. Finland's up there first, Russia, Arabia is doing good, Romania, we've got Colombia and a few of our alliance just underneath them. So we really do honestly need to, you know, grab some more land as best as we can and just get into Africa and really start to put the hurt on them. My navy is coming along quite nicely. I've got a couple, I've got quite a few corvettes, and I'm starting to build destroyers as well, which are going to give me a bit more protection, a bit more security as we continue on. And honestly, I might even just bring down this destroyer to help me out down here and just try and bring out a few more of the enemy units. So let's do that. Let's bring down this corvette fleet and the destroyer. Take 14 hours to get down there, pretty fine. But yeah, the army's going well. I am starting to really invest now on a lot of my infrastructure on the west coast now, realizing that yes, we're going to be fighting on both coasts, but I'm going to need to have some protection over on this left hand side. So I've been upgrading Vancouver after the Americans really dismantled me, starting to build up some more units, probably going to build some more bunkers as well throughout here. Honestly, would not be a bad idea to build a bunker. I also do need to invest in more technology, and I also need to invest in annexing more cities. I managed to annex, I think, 4 cities in America so far: Washington, New York, Chicago, and St. Louisiana, maybe. I don't know, one of these I've annexed, so I can now produce units from there, get way more resources from there, which is always very, very nice. And research as well. Research is going pretty well. Basically just improving my aircraft now. Because at this point in the game, we're all starting to get quite a few resources now. So it's not like everyone's running low like they were at the beginning of the game. So we can now invest in research pretty regularly. And I need to get my strike craft up to, you know, a lot of upgrades. I need to get my battle tank upgraded. That's going to be my main focus. Get to this Challenger 2. And then also I need to start investing in continental missiles as well. I can get some ballistic missiles, which will probably be pretty useful. And I need to start building some more guided missiles and obviously work towards that nuclear power as well. Because it's going to be, you know, we are starting to enter the nuclear zone. You know, people can have quite a few missiles now, and they're getting towards the really OP ones. So we need to invest in them ASAP. And I think also you can get some better... probably have to get some of these threat defense systems as well to shoot down these rockets. Probably something I should invest in next. Yeah, let's do that, because we've got mobile SAM, but I don't think the mobile SAM... Let's surface to air missiles and provide air cover. So maybe these mobile SAM launchers will. Either way, they'll probably improve into some threat defense systems just to stop long-range surface to air missile systems. Yeah. But then again, I don't have to do some more reading, do a bit more research on that work there, and obviously also improving my tank case as well would not be a bad idea. He can definitely upgrade he can upgrade so many times, and he's not actually that expensive to upgrade, so that'll probably be my next focus. But yeah, so far so good. We've got our coalition looking pretty strong. We're looking to improve our dominance over here, gain a bunch more resources, push into the South Americas, and then kind of push our way north. There's going to be some big coalitions here and some hard foes. There is also the Indian coalition as well that is getting beaten up, unfortunately. They're not going to be around for too much longer. But yeah, it'll be fun to see kind of how things do develop over the next 5 to 6 days. But yeah, I mean, so far, Russia, China, and their scary-ass alliance looking super strong. We'll have to see if we are able to bring them down, or if they're just going to overrun us and take the world over. Because again, they probably don't need that many more. Like, they've probably got quite a lot of stuff to win. What is it? So you need... Does it say how much you need for an entire victory? If we go to coalition, does it show us? So they still need... Oh, they actually still need loads more territory to win. Oh, that's kind of cool as well. I really like that the more players you have, the more points go up in your coalition. That's kind of cool. And maybe it's like the factions you start off with as well also indicate into that. Because ours is actually smaller than the Russians. But there's only 4 of us, that's why, yeah. So they still need plenty more land to win, but I'm sure they'll be able to achieve it at some point if they beat us. Because we're really... Us and the Africans are really the only ones standing in their way. And we're kind of killing the Africans right now, so who knows if that's going to be a good idea. Maybe it would have been a better idea to invade Spain and kind of go from there. But anyway, yeah, I'll bring it back to you guys in the next one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next 5 days. Okay guys, welcome back to some more Conflict of Nations, and yeah, things are heating up for a final showdown around the world. My alliance has pushed into Africa, basically conquering the majority of the south. We've also got some pretty good relationships with Saudi Arabia, who have taken the rest of Africa and Madagascar, so they're hopefully very much on our side in this inevitable war against the Russians. We also have Kazakhstan here, we have China, we have the Finnish, who have a pretty mighty empire, Romania, Ukraine, and Belarus. There's going to be a pretty goddamn crazy war that is, yeah, almost a tipping point. Last night I shot down a Chinese UAV. He was being a bit too cheeky over the top of Washington, and that basically has sparked basically the fuels for war. Unfortunately, the Romanians managed to take Bermuda for a nice little invasion land. I pulled back most of my forces. I've got a lot of my tanks and aircraft ready to go. I'm pretty much looking forward to it because I've seen a handful of what the enemy do have, and I feel like my pretty heavily upgraded strike fighters will do a very decent job. I want to obviously wait until this tornado is fully researched to give me the tornado. That'll basically give me a very decent advantage in the air, I'm hoping. Obviously, there's still plenty more upgrades to go. We've got a few fuel optimization, and also obviously the Jazz 39 Gripen. That'll be a huge upgrade for my aircraft, but there's still a lot of other stuff we have to worry about as well. I need to make sure I'm keeping up to date with my infantry, who can actually go up. This is a necessity, because having tier 2 infantry, I think it is, or basically tier 3, yeah, tier 2 infantry or 2-star infantry is going to be so crucial, because that's a lot of my army. A lot of my army is tanks, aircraft, and infantry. We've got a few of these anti-missile SAM sites as well, which will hopefully provide some cover to any missiles coming in. I'm not sure if they actually do shoot down enemy like nukes and stuff, and that's also something I really have lacked behind of in this engagement, is definitely the missile department. I haven't done much research. What I need to do is get one of these ballistic missiles done. I'll probably just go for ballistic missiles because they're the cheapest. Maybe go over to cruise missiles. But yeah, I do need to start. I have got some warheads, which is good, but no nuclear. And that's what's going to really screw me, I think. If Russia has a bunch of missiles, subs off the coast of America, and they just stop bombarding me, it's going to be pretty scary. But my alliance is looking forward to this. I think definitely the Russian powers have the advantage. I mean, just look at all of that. But, you know, you never know. If we can get Egypt on our side, if Australia finally makes a decision on who he wants to team up with, then maybe we can use them to our advantage and beat back the Russian threat. But yeah, it's a very, very scary alliance they have right now. And basically, I think in the next couple of days, the war will start. So I'll bring it back to you guys in the next couple of days, so you guys can see basically how things have developed, if the war did erupt, and if so, if we're still standing by then. So I'll see you guys in the next one. The United States have fallen. The coalition from Russia have invaded and I just could not repel them. All of them ganged up on me. I think there's about 5 of them and it just went south from there. Our allies were too busy fighting in Africa. Arabia and Egypt went against us to go ahead and form a new army, and yeah, things just went very south very quickly. I didn't really play the diplomacy game too much in this one. I was kind of just content of building up and trying to be a powerful nation, but I think in this game it's just very, very hard to do, so you have to kind of play a lot more with your coalition and move on. So this is probably going to be the last video. I've basically lost. I've got a few pockets of resistance around here, and our tank division at Toronto, not really going to do much. I might just kind of send it off to have some fun. New York, I'm pretty sure, got leveled by nukes, which wasn't too good. Over in Halifax, I've got a tank battalion fighting pretty bravely over here. I've got my tank ace here as well, engaging some of the infantry divisions from Finland, but yeah, not going to be able to withstand the major assault. Colombia are being pushed back to Colombia itself. Brazil and Peru are still doing fine. However, it's only a matter of time until they fall against the might of the USSR. China, we got Kazakhstan here. We have the mighty Finland, which is just kind of spread throughout Europe, and Romania as well, and obviously Ukraine and also Belarus. Like, again, but they just played a better diplomacy game than us, and in the end managed to claim a victory right there. It was a ton of fun though, and I really do enjoy this game. It's just a little bit more complicated than the previous kind of games that I have played, which are relatively similar to this. But it was still extremely fun going through all the tech. There's just so many options and there's so much stuff that can do interesting and different stuff. You can really build some unique armies and go above and beyond. So yeah, I want to go ahead and give a massive thank you to the developers for sponsoring this 64-player game. It was a ton of fun fighting against you guys, fighting with some of you guys. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to win this one, but as you can see, I'm pretty sure the USSR Alliance will be taking this one down. However, big shout out to Australia. They have stayed independent this entire game, heavily focused on just Marines and Navy and missiles like nuclear weapons, and basically use that as a deterrent to be like, if you guys want to go after me, my nukes will rain down on you. And they've done it. They managed to stay independent. So massive shout out to Australia. The other big players besides the USSR Alliance is Arabia and also Egypt. They kind of stuck around till the bitter end, which is kind of good. However, I'm pretty sure if we go to the coalition tab, you'll see everyone who's actually in the coalition in the USSR right here. So these guys are the guys who are going to be winning in the end of it. So yeah, massive shout out to everyone who joined this. If you did like anything you saw in today's video, make sure you go ahead and click the link down below in the description. Get yourself signed up. Get some, I think it's like 13,000 free gold, which you can spend in the game, and also some premium. Definitely worth doing. And you can maybe get ready for the next time we do a Conflict of Nations Battle Royale. I'll see you guys in the next one.